Starship flew. Over 9 days, SpaceX made 3 attempts to launch it, and the third one worked. Let me be clear about one thing up front. 3 means 3 launch attempts. It flew on the third. The first 2 were stopped before liftoff. And here's the interesting part. On the second attempt, the rocket could probably have flown, and SpaceX chose to stand down anyway. Hi, this is Ken. Today we'll look at this flight through 3 lenses. Why they stopped twice, what actually succeeded and what didn't, and what this means for our future. I'll keep it clear even if you don't follow rockets closely. First lens, why they stopped twice. The first attempt was July 16. That day, the launch stopped automatically at the exact moment the countdown hit 0. The reason was engines. The first stage booster, called Super Heavy, has 33 Raptor engines. 4 of them failed to ignite due to a problem with their oxidizer pumps. Starship is designed to fly even if up to 3 engines are missing. But this was 4 over that limit, so the computer automatically aborted the launch. I call this the safety logic working, more than a failure. It didn't fly when flying wasn't safe. Musk said they'd swap 2 engines to be confident of a clean flight, so it didn't fail to fly. It refused to. The second attempt was July 23, and the reason was completely different. Weather. Tropical storm. Bertha was approaching Texas, and there was heavy cloud cover. Here's why the cloud mattered. This flight had one important objective: to capture clear, ground-based imagery of Starship's heat shield as it climbed. The heat shield is the layer of tiles that protects the vehicle from heat when it comes back into the atmosphere. You can't film it clearly through cloud. SpaceX said it plainly. A key objective was to get clear imagery from the ground of the heat shield at high dynamic pressure during ascent, and the weather made that impossible. So they probably could have flown. But if they couldn't get the shot they came for, they wouldn't fly that day, standing down on a flyable day for one set of images. That tells you a lot about how this company thinks. Then the third attempt, July 24. This time, almost everything worked. Let's go in order. All 33 engines lit, and Starship climbed cleanly. Stage separation, splitting the first and second stages, worked too. And after separation, there were 0 engine shutdowns this time. The first stage, Super Heavy, splashed down in the Gulf right where it was aimed. And the second stage, Starship, successfully relit 1 engine in space. That's an important test. Can you restart an engine you've shut down up in space? It's essential for changing orbit later and for coming back to Earth. Stop twice, get it through on the third. The way they prepared looks like part of the success itself. The stops seemed to pay off when it finally flew. There was one more big success on this flight. The first ever deployment of the next generation Starlink satellite, Starlink V3, 20 of them. And they made contact with all 20 using both radio and laser links. Let me be honest about one thing here. These 20 satellites were not designed to stay in space. About 20 minutes after deploying, they re-entered the atmosphere and burned up. That's not a failure. That was the plan all along. This was a test of whether they could deploy and communicate. On the other hand, there's still something to verify. Musk noted that the first stage booster seemed to come in for splashdown a little faster than normal. What happened there is still to be confirmed. So rather than call this a complete success, the most accurate way to put it is the main objectives were met with a few items still to verify. Finally, the third lens. what this flight means for our future. We've talked about how they stopped a launch just to film the heat shield. So why does that footage matter so much? The answer is reuse. If the heat shield can be proven to work, Starship can survive re-entry undamaged and be flown again and again. Not a throwaway rocket, but one you can fly repeatedly like an airplane. When that happens, the cost of carrying things to space drops sharply. And once cost drops, what lies beyond is global communications infrastructure, the world that Starlink points toward, and beyond that, plans for the Moon and Mars. NASA's Artemis Moon program is counting on this very vehicle. On this channel, we don't just chase the news, we think together about how these shifts reach our daily lives and work. Today's decision to stop a launch for a single set of images was a doorway into that next era. So what should we watch next? 3 things. First, booster recovery. This time, the first stage splashed down in the sea. But what SpaceX is aiming for is not a splashdown, it's catching the booster out of the air with the arms on the launch tower. That's the catch. The day they pull that off will be the real turning point. Second, whether the heat shield data they went to such lengths to capture gets published. And third, when the next generation Starlink V3 actually enters service. There's nothing you need to decide in a hurry. But when these 3 show up, take it as a sign. The era has moved forward another step. On the channel, I covered the big shifts in Tesla, AI, and space through the lens of how they reach our daily lives and work. This week, I also went deep on Tesla's earnings. Watching both together gives you a fuller picture of where these companies are heading. If you'd like to look a little past the headlines with me, please subscribe.
Before we wrap up, let me take a moment to introduce myself. I drive a Tesla Model Y, and at home, I've installed a Tesla Powerwall, so I actually charge my car with solar energy. I truly believe Tesla is shaping the future, and that's why I share the latest news and insights here on this channel. I'm from Japan, but I want to connect with Tesla fans all around the world. That's why I also create an English version of my videos. YouTube now lets you switch the audio into your own language, so you can enjoy it in whatever language you prefer. Most of all, I'd love to connect with Tesla fans everywhere so we can support Tesla together. I also share updates on X, so feel free to follow me there and let's connect. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.